back again with another video. This one, we're just going to be going down just a list of things that's going on right now. So, what I figured was people get their news from specifically YouTube now, like either social media or just YouTube, or they kind of just see clips of news broadcasts on YouTube and stuff like that. People don't really sit down and watch like the news and everything, but when they do, or even when they do, you know, look at the news on YouTube, it's always within their echo chamber. So what I'm going to start doing is just showing different news sources for these stories so people can really see the biases that happen between each story, each headline, and everything. Now there's an app that you can get where you can see that, and then they also show you, like, the biases on this side, biases on that side, the blind spots of like which side is not um, kind of reporting on the same story as this side and why not, and stuff like that. So leave a like and sorry, leave a like and a comment. Also comment if you know exactly what app I'm talking about. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but if you know, you know. But stay tuned, and I'll let y'all know at the end. This one, let's see. I'm going to share my screen for y'all. All right. So, for instance, knowing pretty much where each news source comes from, like politically, and like who's paying for them, is very important. So one of the first things I do is always look at like who posted the video. So NBC News is obviously very left. You might disagree, that's you, but I say they're left. To me, that they're on the left and everything. Me personally, I don't lean left or right. I mean, I kind of grew up more liberal and like radically liberal at some point in college and everything, but I moved towards the independent side of everything. So it's like I still hold some beliefs from the left, but I also see where the right is coming from with a lot. Um, and then it kind of skewed how I thought of things, because now I know that both sides are pretty much working for the same people. And that's something I've said in previous vids, everything like that. So, like, now knowing that both sides are getting paid for by both people, it's kind of, it's like, all right. I mean, I'll get into more of what that means to me later on, and maybe even in another video if you stay tuned and turn on the notifications. So click that bell, turn on notifications, and then you would definitely know my opinions on that. But let's get into it. Um, Now I'm not going to just like skip over people's stuff, because that's just not, that's not nice. But I will go with importance of topic to me, if that makes sense. Um, yeah. Now this right here, that is probably the best thing that I think Trump has done so far. You can have opinions about anything else that he's done, but the one thing I feel like everybody can agree on is that JFK, MLK, and RFK's, all of their deaths were extremely suspicious, along with other people like Jimi Hendrix, even Michael Jackson. If you go on, certain websites, you can see the FBI files for all that, from the bill that happened before where they had to release them. So I feel like this is a huge deal, but let's just look at what NBC says about it, because we know NBC is very, like I said, it's left. It's very much left. I don't know why these first ones are coming up as NBC except for the Fox one, but I have to look into something else. Their marketing is on point though, because it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. Let's see.
The book, and you concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK by himself. As someone who's an expert, is
there are things, Tom. I mean, I'd love to see. There are some files that are still sealed about the mafia and CIA plots against Fidel Castro. I'd like to know more about information was gathered on Oswald when Lee Harvey Oswald visited Mexico City only 6 weeks before the assassination. And it might disclose the extent to which the CIA knew how unbalanced Oswald was, and they didn't tell the FBI. So there could be some embarrassing things in here. It'll be interesting for history. But I don't think what most Americans are looking for, which is a smoking gun document that will turn the case on its head and say, hey, here's who killed Kennedy, was really part of the secret government, and here are the people involved. That's not going to happen.
You gave us a little bit of a nugget there, so I do want to ask you about that. Do we know why Oswald goes to Mexico City and goes to the Cuban embassy?
Yeah, it's so interesting. He's only 23 years old at the time because he just turns 24 when he gets up in a window and shoots at President Kennedy in November. He wants to go to Havana, where he thinks the real revolution is happening. He's a leftist went to the Soviet Union. He went after he was in the Marine Corps and said, you know, I'm turning up here and I want to be part of the Russian Revolution. Then he hated it there. He thought that they had ruined communism. Came back to America and thought that this was equal plans by both the Soviets and by the Cubans. And when he came back to America in early October, only 6 weeks before Kennedy visited Dallas, he was dejected and in the worst mood he had been in. He had just failed a few months earlier to try to shoot and kill a retired Army general. So Oswald was a sort of a powder keg ready to explode. And the president ends up taking a motorcade route that goes right in front of where Oswald works. It's one of those things you couldn't make up out of a movie, but it happened in reality.
And just to be clear, what your book, proves in a way, and what that Frontline documentary also proved when it came out in 1993, you think that Lee Harvey Oswald by himself assassinated John F. Kennedy by shooting him from the bookstore. There are no arguments and no questions about it, in your opinion.
Of course, there are no arguments and questions about it, in his opinion, because we all know that they wanted to cover it up. Them wanting to cover it up, and then someone obviously on, the right, which is like NBC's enemy somehow, of course it goes both ways. Like Fox hates them too. But of course, someone that goes on there, he might not even, I don't know, who knows his personal political affiliations, but anybody that is on the company's platform where they are also getting paid to be there, and the newscaster themselves, the reporter that's asking the questions, are also paid to paint this narrative about it too, where it's like, oh, it's just a deranged guy that wanted to kill him. I don't think so. No, it's never really just some deranged person that wants to kill somebody, because every time you dig into some of these stories, it digs back into, like, how did you know so much about this person? And the fact that every time they do know so much about this person, it fits a narrative. And when they don't know something, or, the details about the person, then it's most likely that it doesn't fit the narrative. But we'll keep watching. Or I think we've had enough of that. I'm going to go to another one that's pretty controversial, but Sky News is very, to the point, I would say. One thing I don't like, though, is when the word woke has been kind of switched from telling Black people to stay aware, like in the 90s, of racial injustices, and now it's changed into everything else. I'm like, come on, bruh. Now you gave the Republicans something to put in the word bank to just poke at people now, when it's not even the right type of. But I don't know who did it though. I don't know who made it you know what I'm saying? Either way, I just think it should go back to its original meaning. And then whatever else that you want to categorize everything else as, come up with a different term for that. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it.
It seems like this, taking the culture war right up to the front here is continuing everywhere, because also the new Trump State Department has said no more pride flags, no more Black Lives Matter flags, no more of these other flags that are not the American flag are to be hung from U.S. embassies and outposts. I think this is a great message of common sense that will reassert American, I think, sovereignty against this woke movement, especially abroad. What do you make of it?
Well, it's always been bizarre that only a couple of flags are given this special privilege. Certainly, if you had a flag that was designed by veterans, or a flag that, for example, honored a visiting governor to a U.S. embassy, that wasn't permitted. The governor couldn't fly his state flag when he was visiting the embassy. But somehow, if you were a member of the Pride community or a Black Lives Matter person, you got special privileges and you got straight to the head of the line. Clearly an ideological statement that is not appropriate when reflecting the values of the entire United States government.
Absolutely right. Now, before I let you go, I want to get your thoughts on a statement made this week by a Danish member of the European Parliament, Anders Vistisen. Have a look at this.
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, off.
John, what do you make of this outburst?
It got that guy more media attention in Denmark than he has ever received and ever will receive. And that was the whole point of that. Look, the Danish have already said privately, we are happy to discuss more military cooperation with the United States. We're happy to discuss more exploitation of mineral rights in Greenland. But this performance art that Trump does, where he says Canada can be the 51st state, will buy Greenland, it's certainly gotten the attention of the Danes, and I think that they're going to come to the table more quickly than they otherwise would. A lot of people don't like Trump's bully diplomacy. He basically has taken the bully pulpit literally and become a bully, but it gets people's attention. And Trump would say, if it leads to a better result for the United States, it's worth it.
What do they call it, John? The art of the deal. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you soon.
So what I would say is, like, now I personally don't care, what people identify as, or, if you're genderqueer, if you're gender heteronormative, whatever you are, whatever. I personally don't care if you identify as a waffle. If you're in my presence, I'll make you feel like the safest waffle, as long as you're a good person or a good waffle. As long as you're a good person or waffle, you're good with me. Now, if I fuck up and, like, I don't know, not know that you're a waffle or something like that, I mean, I care, but you're going to care more than I do. But that's, yeah. So I'm pretty, like, I think what people forget when they think about, like, when it comes to, like, identities and intersectionalities, identity politics as well, too. And yes, that's what it is. So if you're mad that I called it identity politics, then I guess you're going to have to be. But what people don't realize about just kind of waking up and thinking about those things, it's like people are not going to all be on the same page, and that is okay. Now, if you do something that hurts somebody because you're not on the same page, or no matter what side you're on, you are deranged, because it's just a belief. You can just go mind your business. It's cheaper, it's way less chaotic, and your karmic debt is in the positives. If you just don't, lash out because somebody has a different belief or a different lifestyle, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I say all that to say, let's say I've said this on threads before too, and people were like, well, what if there's a racist and da-da-da-da-da, because of course I'm Black. So they're like, what if there's a racist and, they're calling you the N-word? I'm like, okay, so it's mentally noted that they're a racist and I'm going to remove myself. Now, if they hurt somebody, like, physically, then, it's a whole different story. But if you're just a weirdo, like, if you're just a weirdo racist, like, I don't care to fuck up my life for you. Like, I'm not going to jail. I'm not losing my job. I'm not going to spaz out just because I need a story to tell another Black person of, like, this one time when a white person said the N-word around me. You know what I'm saying? I'll leave that to the men to do, not me. I'm straight. But I'm not going to make a scene. Like, I'll probably look at them crazy. Probably be like, who made you that comfortable? Because somebody had to make you that comfortable. So I guarantee you they won't be comfortable around me for, or my energy if I have to stay in that space. Anyway, I say all that to say people can choose to be offended or not. You can choose to be offended. And that's a controversial statement now, and I don't really care. Um, but yeah, choosing to be offended has been like the mainstay in people validating victimhood to the point where victimhood is becoming profitable. People are making money off of victimhood. Like, if you don't believe me, if you go on TikTok and just, I don't know what to look up to find these videos because I'm never on that side of TikTok. I just see people's reaction videos to stuff like people begging for money on TikTok, people getting mad at their followers and stuff and their viewers because they're not sending them money. That's crazy. Like if you bold enough to ask strangers for money on the internet, you gotta do what you gotta do. I feel it. But to be mad at them for not wanting to partake, and you don't know what they got going on. They probably one step away from being, a person that asks you for money on TikTok. Like, you don't know what's going on. But anyway, I got way off tangent. Um, what were we even talking about? What was I even talking about? See, sometimes it's we. But yeah, people's, the flag and stuff like that. Um, I say I'm an ally, so I don't really care about do you. But one thing, the main thing I wanted to say that brought me back to this topic was you can't force other people to change their minds. If they're not doing something physically, then you can't just change their minds. Like, you can call someone a bigot all day. That's not going to make them stop being a bigot. If they're homophobic, they're just going to be homophobic until they choose to change, if they want to. And until they hurt somebody behind their homophobia, then who cares if they're homophobic? You know what I'm saying? It's not really that big of a deal if you just move away. If they don't have any way to project their homophobia onto anybody, like discriminating with housing or, hurting someone in just a hate crime in general, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not that deranged. So what? You know what I'm saying? They're not going into gay spaces. So who they gonna hurt? Like, if they're really truly homophobic, they're not gonna be around no gay people. But anyway, there's also the whole thing with see, I want to interview people that are like racist, homophobic, transphobia. Just want to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also not afraid of anything. So, like, people are there like, yo, why would you do that? What do you want to gain from that? I just want to see what you. Everybody deserves to be heard. And I think that's a lot of stuff that brings you to my previous point of the fact that when you awaken or you're thinking about, just spiritual awakening or you're on a spiritual path, part of your ascension is realizing that we're all people. Like, even with whatever biases someone else has, they only can think at the level that they're at spiritually or where they are vibrating at the moment. And it also depends on, their background and everything like that. But it also, I think it boils down mostly to where they are spiritually, where their vibration is. So you can't really get mad at, like, for instance, I used to be a radical leftist, like not even liberal, leftist, like tear this shit down. Then I woke up and I was like, hold on. If we dismantle everything, who's going to rebuild it? Because a lot of my peers are saying the same thing about dismantling stuff. They have issues with executive functioning, can't really focus too long, can't really plan and set deadlines and stick to deadlines and things of that nature. So it's like, how are you trying to rebuild what people built up for us that didn't have a lot of these problems? And they're like, well, you don't know if they had all these problems. Their food didn't have no red 40 in it, no red 3. We didn't have preservatives, hormone disruptors in their food back then. Everything was mostly organic, the way it should have been. So, of course, their minds are pretty much not saying that they were smarter than us, but it's unpolluted in a sense, outside of like whatever they were doing to themselves, like if they were smoking or drinking or doing drugs, blah, 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 blah. But outside of what they were doing to themselves, the food in general, that definitely affects your mentality more than the occasional drug usage. If you're an occasional drug user, that is different from now to then, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's move on. I don't really know what to pick right now. But I'm saying for deportation, let's just talk about deportation for a second, because I grew up with a lot of like Mexican friends, usually just Mexican, and they were illegal immigrants, like their whole family and everything. So they told me how they get over is basically like a trafficking type of situation where it's like an underground railroad, but you're just kind of sending your kids off to different random people, which that's dangerous. But back then I was all like, super sympathetic, like, yeah. I mean, they were, not fucking up anything. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't. They were just, being normal people. So of course, I was super sympathetic. Nowadays, where I'm more in the middle of it, like, yes, I'm all for immigrant. Like, come in legally, sure. We're a melting pot anyway. The whole country was built on outside illegal immigrants, or really immigrants, not really illegal immigrants, but there was already native people here anyway. Like there was none of this, like before the structure that came about, or the matrix that came about that we live in, there was people coming in from all over the place. And that's how we kind of built this thing. That's how the entire world was built up. But when you have conveniences and like a matrix where you live in and have to kind of live in to survive, unless you want to live off the grid, which would be some time to prepare and things of that nature. And you also need some type of money to live off the grid, unless you're homeless and you just kind of go into the woods and live off the grid. But I said all that to say, and what did I mean to say? Paying taxes now, being a tax paying adult and being 27, I just turned 27. That has molded my mind into being like, hold on. Some of this just doesn't make sense. Like a lot of the stuff I believed in college just does not make sense. Not in the system that we have now. If we were in the times where we were running around eating berries, just naked, living life and all that stuff, yeah, sure. Like, let everybody come in, because there's no taxes and there's no economy or system outside of bartering and trading. Now there was still tribalism, so there was still people defending and protecting what they called their land. So we can't forget that. And this is just a modern form of tribalism anyway, which is essential. Kind of like how in Avatar, The Last Airbender, the cartoon, if you remember, or if you're old enough to remember, they had different little kingdoms: the earth kingdom, air kingdom, fire kingdom, water, you know what I'm saying? All of that. And then they would interact and intermingle if they wanted to. Not saying that I'm a separatist or nothing, but that was a peaceful time. Like they still had to protect their land however they saw fit. Or if you've ever seen One Piece, when they went on the Grand Line and everything, they still had towns of people protecting what's theirs and villages protecting what's theirs. You know what I'm saying? So as far as Trump's stances on like immigration and border patrol and stuff like that, if they come in illegally, we can't go to any other country and just walk in illegally and be like, hey, spend your taxes on me, man. I'm just here. Give me your food stamps. Give me thousands of dollars in your food stamps. Like, no, they're going to send us back so fucking fast. And I hate to curse so much on this, but they're going to send us back so fast if we just walked into another country like, hey, I live here now. Like, are we not using our noggin, y'all? Like, yo. But anyway, I'm saying, let's go find something else. We'll do one more. These dudes look like potatoes, I ain't gonna lie. They are, I hate to say it like that, because that's me. But I want to find some news that's not Trump related sometimes. And I know it just it's just the inauguration, so it's going to be hard. I'm just going to literally. Oh boy. Man found carrying a gun inside the U.S. Capitol. Oh man. Dude going back to Haiti apparently. I mean, if you came legally. It's a gray line when it comes to Haiti, though, because Haiti, we fucked Haiti up. Like, not us. Not us. Hillary Clinton, the Clintons in general, they did Haiti dirty. So if anything, come on over. I ain't got nothing to say to the Haitians. Come on over, because it's been 100 years, damn near, almost like it's been 80 years since Haiti has just been getting like shit on left and right. Now of course people are gonna be like, but that's the same with the other areas too, and blah 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 blah. It's different. It's spiritual when it came to Haiti. You know, something definitely spiritual. Now, when it comes to Elon Musk, like whole Nazi thing, like I don't think he was doing a Nazi salute. I thought he was just doing the, hand over the heart, like my heart goes to y'all. That's the same thing a lot of other politicians have done. Now, his, like I don't want to do it because I don't want nobody to try to cancel me, but how firm he did it was crazy. But I don't think he really you know what I'm saying? But let's see what NBC talk about, because of course they're gonna be like, they're gonna read into it. They're gonna be like, this nigga posted, Nazi stuff after all the backlash and blah blah. But he's a troll. Like he's gonna troll this.
It's the latest in a Tonight, Elon Musk making light of a gesture some found offensive at an inauguration celebration Monday.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Some critics saying this hand motion looked like a Nazi salute. This morning, Elon Musk on X with a message containing a series of Nazi-related puns, including saying, quote, bet you did Nazi that coming. The Anti-Defamation League, which initially defended Musk's gesture as just an awkward onstage moment, chastising him in a statement today, saying, quote, the Holocaust is not a joke. Musk has not responded to our request for comment about the incident. It's the latest in a string of controversies ignited by the world's richest man, the close ally of President Trump. Musk undercutting Trump's announcement just days ago of a new $500 billion artificial intelligence initiative called Stargate. It's a collaboration of several existing AI brands.
Invest in Stargate and all the other companies involved in the whole Stargate project. Just do it. Trust me. My man was saying the same thing. Just like, better jump on that. And so, I'm about to get on it right after this video.
We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available.
Musk posting on X, quote, they don't actually have the money. Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI and one of Stargate's biggest backers, firing back, writing, quote, wrong, as you surely know.
Mr. President, does it bother you that Elon Musk criticized the deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, it doesn't. He hates one of the people in the deal.
Musk earning a seat at Trump's inner circle after spending an eye-popping sum on his campaign, a reported $250 million. That included a daily $1 million giveaway to registered voters who signed a petition in battleground Pennsylvania.
If you already believe in the Constitution, you're just signing something you already believe, and you can win $1 million. That's awesome.
But sources within the Trump transition told NBC News his newfound influence has caused conflict in Trump world. His support of H-1B visas for foreign workers enraged the MAGA faithful. And his near constant presence at Mar-a-Lago annoyed some Trump officials, with one saying, quote, he's behaving as if he's a co-president.
And no, he's not taking the presidency.
The two billionaires themselves have had a love-hate relationship, with Elon Musk initially opposing his bid for president in 2016.
I feel a bit stronger that probably he's not the right guy. He doesn't seem to have the sort of character that reflects well on the United States.
And although their relations warmed after Trump's first election, they still had their differences.
You know, he said the other day, I've never voted for Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another artist.
But Musk endorsed Trump after the assassination attempt against him in Pennsylvania last summer and has been a staunch supporter ever since.
All right, Yamiche joins us tonight from Washington. Yamiche, great to have you on Top Story tonight. This is not the first time Elon Musk has been accused of anti-Semitism, right?
That's right. Some have criticized Elon Musk, saying that he spread anti-Semitic messages on social media. They also say that under his ownership, X, formerly known as Twitter, has also been more inviting to hate speech. Elon Musk has denied spreading any sort of anti-Semitic messaging. And he also says Twitter, now, of course, known as X, is a place that's really about free speech, Tom.
Is anyone in Trump world, anyone in the administration disowning Elon Musk because of his jokes about Nazis?
Well, this is a key question. We haven't seen anyone in Trump world or close Trump allies break from Elon Musk because of this gesture or because of his statements even today with those Nazi puns. What we have seen is Steve Bannon, who is a longtime ally of President Trump, someone who served in the first Trump administration. He has been criticizing Elon Musk for a different issue, and that is his comments on artificial intelligence and Stargate. He also has been saying that Elon Musk isn't moving fast enough to slash government spending, as he heads that government agency that's going to be looking at government efficiency, Tom.
Okay, Yamiche, great to see you. We thank you for that report.
Thanks for watching.
Yes. So as far as Elon, I'm really indifferent when it comes to Elon. Like, I like that I hope he has good intentions with like the whole Neuralink stuff. I wouldn't get the Neuralink because I don't want anybody to have access to what goes on up here. So that's never going to happen. The most I want the public to know about my mind is what I tell y'all. But I feel like Elon Musk bought out TikTok. Like, not only Elon Musk though, I thought Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Xiao, the TikTok owner, and Mark Zuckerberg kind of combined to try to make it more like an app called Tencent that's already in like China or something, where it's kind of like a amalgamation of like social media sites and you can buy stuff. And I mean, of course, we know TikTok and like Instagram and Facebook already have like shopping features. But it's going to be something like that where everything's just combined in one app and everybody's mainly using that app for short and long form content, lives, etc. So I think that may be why they know, like, all of the TikTok like algorithm is just weird. Like, it feels like the algorithm's trying to get to know me again or something. But I posted this one thing. I have to probably find it. I hope I find it. But I posted this one clip where it was like Laura Perlmutter or something like that. Well, people were saying it was Laura Perlmutter, but she literally looked like a reptilian, and I posted that, and it went like crazy. But like I had to manually approve of like a lot of the comments, and I was just like, damn, they're really doing this. And then people were saying in the comments that they could only send it to like one person, like one other person at a time. And I was like, that is so crazy. They're really trying to shadow ban people. But despite their efforts, like let me check and see how many views it got so far. There's so much to just go see myself. 818 views. So 818,000 views, 13.5 thousand likes. So despite them shadow banning it, apparently people want to see this. But a lot of people are assuming I'm a leftist and like I'm shitting on somebody because they were at the inauguration. I'm like, no, this is because she looked like a fucking reptilian. Not just at the inauguration, she just looks like one. She might be one. Like, she's a billionaire. Who knows? Anyway, that's all for today. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Excuse me. Hope y'all enjoyed it. And I'll see y'all next time. Stay tuned for the next edition of The Palette coming out February 22nd. There's also going to be an open mic for The Palette on Ralph David Abernathy in Atlanta. If you are local, let me know. And if you are an artist that wants to perform, just please slide into my DMs and let me know you want to perform. I'll show y'all.